Hey guys, welcome back to the Ridge Build episode 2. Today there are a few things we're going to be covering and going over. We're going to be starting with going over the progress of the foundation. We're also going to be covering the process of the waterproofing that took place this last week. We're also going to be covering where the structural supports for the house are going to be going in the basement and where the pockets are going to be going and how that exactly works. So just stay tuned and we'll get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be covering the progress of the foundation. So as you can tell right here, we got the footers put in for the stairs. That will be the front entry of the house. I'll kind of give a walk around. So the entire foundation is done. The only thing that is left for them to do is they got a pump truck coming in to pump the concrete into the structural pockets there in the foundation that I'll show you guys later in this video. And then they also have to reinforce the foundation with rebarb. They place the rebarb every 4 feet vertically and they fill those pockets with cement, so just to improve the structural integrity of the actual CMU blocks. I'm also going to be going over a few changes that I made that you got to think about in the future when you're building. So the biggest thing with custom home building is, for me at least, I've noticed that you want to do everything up front before it's too late to change it. So there's a couple things I'll be kind of pointing out throughout this video on what I changed and what you can't change later. So just stay tuned and I will go over those here shortly. So one change that we did end up making, I did break it down in the last video. We are having a 3-car garage, so we're gonna have 1 door, 2 door, and 3 door back here. So I do have a pretty decent sized truck, and I was originally gonna do 10 feet wide, 8 feet high garage doors for the garage that's attached to the house, but I actually decided to upgrade the garage door on the far left side so that way my truck actually fits in the garage, because before, if I did a 10-foot section, it only allow you 3 inches on each side of the mirror for me to actually back in the garage door and have access into the garage door. So that's something to think about in the future when you're building a custom home. Those little things aren't something you can change later, so it's one of those things that you got to take care of before it's too late. One more thing that you guys do want to keep in mind when you guys are building: if your house is going to be running a sump system, you got to really think about where you want that catch basin to be. So for an example, I didn't instruct the contractor on where to put it exactly, so he ended up actually putting it, I don't know if you can see it right there, which this is actually planning to be a theater room in the future. So that is a horrible place for my sump catch basin to be. So you got to think about these things in for the future. So we're actually going to, I'm standing on the wall, so give me a little time to turn around. So we're actually going to be putting the catch basin in this corner. The reason we're going to be putting it over there is because we are actually going to have stairs going into the basement in that section. So basically it's going to be hidden, out of sight. It's not going to be an eyesore in our theater room. So that's just something to keep in mind if you guys are running a grinder pump of any sort, or even just a normal catch basin for your sump system that is going to be pumping out stormwater. So keep that in mind. And then right now we're going to be going over the structural support system of the basement, what's going to be basically holding and carrying the weight of the house. So you see all these pockets that are put in the basement floor. So they're going to be footers that are poured cement, and that's where our poles are going to sit on, and then we're going to have steel beams running the whole distance of the foundation. And that's going to basically support the whole house from any type of weight that's going to be sitting on it. And then with the way it works is the beams actually sit in the foundation right there. I don't know if you can see it. So you channel out the CMU blocks, the beam sits on that, and then you got posts that support it throughout the entire house. So that's kind of how that works. I'll give a better breakdown once they're actually installed, and also once the footers are poured and everything kind of is a little further along in the process of that stage. So we'll kind of turn around and we will kind of give you a breakdown of the waterproofing and explain that in a little detail and the reason why it's a very important step in the building process. So for waterproofing, you're going to see this black waterproof membrane that's going to be covering the entire foundation. So there's actually a few steps before you get to the point where you put on your foam and your rubber membrane. So the reason waterproofing is so important, CMU block is very porous. It's almost like a sponge. It kind of absorbs all the water. So if you were to spray a hose or pour water on it, that block would actually absorb all that water and would bleed through into your basement. So this is a very important step if you want a dry basement. The reason it's so important is because if you don't, you're gonna have water in your basement and it's gonna be very, very expensive to fix later on, rather than just doing it up front how we are currently seeing it now. So what they do, they actually put a mortar glaze coat over the entire CMU foundation, and then once that cures, so that's somewhat waterproof, but it's not 100%, and then they come back and they use a tar rubber membrane to cover it, and that's what you see here, all the black. It goes around the entire foundation. You don't need it on the footers, it's membraned behind that, so you don't have any type of water intrusion through that section as well. So that's the reason waterproofing is so important, because it's a very expensive thing to fix in the future, and without a dry basement you attract mold, you attract bacteria, you attract all types of stuff that you don't want in your house. And it's also a pain when you have a finished basement and then you have to worry about moisture issues, and it's very hard to control if you don't take the proper steps and doing it up front like we have here. So that's going to kind of conclude the information for today. We supposed to start framing next week, so you guys might be a week or two behind on the videos just due to our scheduling when it comes to our subcontractor that's going to be doing the framing. But I appreciate you guys following along. If you got any information that you guys want to know, or if you guys have any comments or questions, concerns, shoot me a comment down below and I'll gladly get back to you. I hope my videos are slowly progressing in the better direction, just because it'll be video number 2. So I appreciate you guys tagging along with this journey, and I will catch you on episode 3. Hopefully it'll be a week or maybe a week and a half before the next video comes out. So I appreciate you guys following along, and until next time.